Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the Munsters, more specifically on the filming locations of the Munsters, where it was filmed, where it was shot. You might be surprised to know actually where different things happen. I want to focus that into the video. I do have a playlist with more Munsters videos, different type of content, so make sure to check that out. Links are below in the description. Let's get right to it. Now, The Munsters was a very popular television show in the 1960s that was very unique. What it did was take the original Universal monsters, that is Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, and pretty much made them a normal family. In terms of normal, is how they act. They act just like an everyday 1960s family. However, they look very, very different. And it's a sitcom. There's a lot of funny situations. Other than how they look, there's really nothing scary about the show. It's lots of fun, and there's a lot of parodies that happen throughout, and that's why people love it so much. The show starred Fred Gwynne as the very tall Frankenstein monster, Herman Munster. Then we have his wife, played by Yvonne DiCarlo, who played Lily Munster. Then Al Lewis played the Dracula character. Of course, he was Lily's father in the show. Beverly Owen played the, according to everyone else, the ugly one of the family. Of course, she was a very beautiful Marilyn Monroe type character. And then we have, of course, Butch Patrick, who played the little boy, the son. And he was kind of a hybrid between a werewolf and a vampire. Now, unfortunately, the show only ran about 70 episodes, but in those 70 episodes, a lot of cool and fun things were able to happen. It ran from September 24th, 1964 to May 12th, 1966. Only about 2 years, that is 2 seasons. But the show became iconic, and it even became a cult classic. Now, where was it filmed? Like most TV shows and movies, there were different locations for interior filming and exterior filming. You have seen a lot of the shots of the interior of the Munsters house. This was, of course, shot in Universal City at basically the Universal Studios lot. And I'm going to go through the stages in just a little bit, what sound stages and so forth, so you can take a look at that. And I will also talk about the exterior, the mansion. Now, the mansion is very iconic. I mean, it's when everyone thinks about when they think about the Munsters, this is where they live. Now, it was in the same movie studio, but pretty much on the other side of the studio where all of the homes and exterior backlots are. So I'm going to show those to you as well. You can see in 1950, this is called the Maxim House. This is what it originally was, and later it was, of course, changed up, morphed, modeled to what they needed, and that is, of course, the Munster house. It's really nice to see the evolution over 10 years, so that's really cool. So looking at Google Maps, this is a big image, 3D image of Universal City in essentially Los Angeles County, California. And if we zoom in here, we can see a lot of really cool locations, especially the ones that I'm speaking about. This is the main area of the park up here, and then there's the lower lot, and that's where we want to look at. This is essentially the main entrance on the lower lot. And if we zoom in over here to these studio buildings over here, this one at the bottom, this long rectangular one, is the one that occupies the space for the original Munsters location. This is Sound Stage 7. Now, if we look at the map here, we can also see that on the right side is probably what 7 was, and then they later combined it to make it a larger set. Now, or a larger stage, that is. Keep in mind that when in the 1960s, when the Munsters moved to this stage, it was already old. And so when it moved out, they possibly did some renovations, and that is why they combined this building. So that is an answer to that. Now, where was the newer building? So Munster started over here. And then if we zoom out and make our way over here, we come to this huge sound stage over here. Now, this is pretty recent, built in the early 2000s. It's a ride. You can actually come to the theme park and ride the ride. It's 2 stories, it's 3D, and it moves around. It's really cool. Anyway, this is the real location of the sound stage. So they combined a couple of these sound stages. There's 2 over here, and I think here there were 2 big ones. But they also had a special effects thing over here, and it was a little attraction where you go in there and they show how to do special effects. And I remember going inside and they told us this is the actual building where the Munsters was filmed. And if you look at the ceiling, the rafters, you see how old they are. They're original from the 60s, and I remember seeing that. Now it's of course all destroyed because they had to make this ride, put in the restoration, but I was in that building, guys and gals, and I'm so happy to bring it to you. I'm going to move on to the backlot portion. So the backlot is where all of these sets are. These are essentially the locations of where a lot of the Munsters exterior things were shot. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these things were changed. You can see there's kind of like a plaza here. That plaza could have doubled for a parking lot at the time. A lot of these, this is New York Street, and so a lot of these New York streets were used in a lot of the scenes, and this is where Back to the Future was filmed. But this little courthouse, this little area was used a lot on the Munsters, especially this little area over here. You can actually see it because there are these alleyways and they're only here, and so this was very popularly used by the Munsters. And then finally, if we come over here, we can actually see the exterior set of the home. Okay, and I zoomed out a little bit. This is where we just were. If we make our way down over here, it's even labeled here as the Munsters house. I'm going to actually go all the way in. Yeah, if we zoom in here, this is the location of Mockingbird Lane. If we look over here, this is it. This is the repurposed Munster house, 1313 Mockingbird Lane. It was used for other TV shows like Desperate Housewives, things like that. You see even actors over here. It's kind of cool. But yeah, this was it. This was the outside facade. Now, when you went in here, the interior sets, there's nothing there. This is just an outer shell. And they put a backdrop over here, and they had the lightning effects, and that's what made it look like a house. Of course, they made it scary, and they had all these plants and stuff. But yeah, this is the actual same facade, same location. Very, very cool. Well, that's it, guys and gals. Now you know where all the interior shots were done and where the outside of the house is to this very day. You can go on the studio tour at Universal Studios and see the outside of the Munsters house as I just showed you, including the back lot and some of the locations where some of the other funny scenes happen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. It's absolutely free. And don't forget, guys and gals, be hopeful. Thank you to my Diamond tier patrons, Andrew B, Ricky, and David D. And thank you to every single one of my Patreons where I have exclusive content. Be sure to look in the description below for merchandise, Patreon exclusive content, as well as playlists where you can find other TV shows and sitcoms that I think you'll enjoy. We'll see you all next time.